Blood soaked through the gauze faster than I could replace it. The German shepherd whimpered, brown eyes fixed on mine with trust I wasn't sure I deserved. My hands moved on autopilot, suturing the gash across his shoulder, while Mrs. Chen hovered behind me, wringing her weathered hands. "I'm so sorry, Dr. Mitchell. I don't have the money right now. Maybe next week, or—" "It's fine." The words came out harsher than intended. I softened my tone. "Bring me whatever groceries you can spare. Vegetables, rice, anything." Her relief was palpable. My bank account, less so. 3 years had passed since David died on that construction site, leaving me with a 7-year-old daughter, a mortgage of medical bills from his 8-month cancer fight, and the weight of every single tomorrow. The veterinary clinic where I worked paid enough to keep us fed. Barely. Rent was another story. "Dr. Mitchell." My boss, Dr. Patterson, appeared in the doorway. His disapproval radiated off him in waves. "Another charity case? She's a regular client who hasn't paid in 4 months." He crossed his arms. "This is a business, not a shelter." I finished the last stitch, my jaw tight. The dog needed medical attention. "And we need paying customers." He walked away, muttering something about bleeding hearts and bankruptcy. Mrs. Chen pressed me a container of homemade dumplings before leaving. I stared at it. Dinner for tonight. Maybe breakfast tomorrow if I stretched it. My phone buzzed. Elena picking up Lily from school. "Meet us at your place." I glanced at the clock. Already 4:30. My shift had bled into overtime again. I texted back a quick thanks and stripped off my blood-stained scrubs, replacing them with the spare jeans and sweater I kept in my locker. The sweater had a hole near the hem. I tugged it down, hoping it wasn't obvious. The walk to my apartment took 15 minutes. 15 minutes of trying not to calculate exactly how short I was on rent. $4,200, due in 6 days. The eviction notice was already taped to my door, a cheerful pink paper promising homelessness if I didn't comply. I found Elena and Lily on the building's front steps. My daughter's face lit up when she saw me. "Mommy!" She crashed into my legs, nearly knocking me over. "Tia, Elena brought me ice cream." "Did she?" I shot Elena a look. My best friend since college just shrugged, her dark hair catching the late afternoon sun. "It was $2, Claire. Relax." I wanted to argue. Wanted to explain that $2 was $2, that everything added up, that I was drowning in addition. Instead, I smiled. "Thanks for getting here." "Always." Elena's voice dropped as Lily skipped ahead, shattering about her day. "You looked exhausted." 20-hour shift, we'll do that." "Claire, don't." I knew what was coming. The offer to loan money, the concern, the pity. "I'm handling it." Elena's expression said I didn't believe her, but she let it go. "We need to stop at the store. Your fridge is empty." "Don't argue," she added when I opened my mouth. "I saw it yesterday when I dropped off those files." Grocery shopping with $11 in my account. Perfect. The corner market was busy, filled with the after-work crowd. I grabbed the essentials. Milk, bread, peanut butter. Lily wanted cereal, the colorful kind with the cartoon character. I reached for the store brand instead. "But Mommy—" "Not today, baby." Her disappointment cut deeper than any of Dr. Patterson's criticism. Elena squeezed my shoulder but said nothing. We were heading for checkout when Lily gasped, "Mommy, look!" A man stood near the exit, phone pressed to his ear. Tall, expensive suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Dark hair swept back, strong jawline, the kind of presence that made people move out of their way without being asked. He radiated power, money, everything I didn't have. "What, Lily?" "He dropped something." Before I could stop her, my daughter darted forward. "Lily!" But she was already running, her worn sneakers slapping against the linoleum. A leather wallet lay on the floor where the man had been standing. He'd moved toward the automatic doors, still speaking rapid Italian into his phone, his back to us.
"Sir, sir." Lily's voice carried across the store. My heart jumped into my throat. I abandoned the cart and chased after her, Elena close behind. The man turned and I froze. His eyes found mine first. Gray-blue, cold, calculating. They swept over me in less than a second, and I felt cataloged, assessed, found wanting in my thrift store sweater and scuffed boots. Then his gaze dropped to Lily, who held his wallet up like a trophy. "You dropped this." The coldness in his expression flickered. Something else moved behind it, something I couldn't name. He took a step toward her, and every maternal instinct I had screamed, "Danger!" I reached Lily, pulling her against my side. "I'm sorry, she just wanted to return it." "No need to apologize." His voice was low, accented, Italian, definitely, smooth like aged whiskey. He crouched to Lily's level, and I saw the scar on his left eyebrow, the way his suit jacket stretched across broad shoulders. "Thank you for your honesty, little one. What's your name?" "Lily." She beamed at him, completely unaware of my tension. "Mommy says we should always be kind to people, even strangers." "Your mommy is very wise." His eyes lifted to mine again. This time they lingered on the dark circles I knew shadowed my face, on my chapped hands, on the hole in my sweater I'd tried to hide. I saw the exact moment he understood. Poor, struggling, desperate. Heat flooded my cheeks. "We should go." "Wait," he straightened, reaching into his wallet. "A reward for such honesty." "No." The word came out sharper than I intended. "We don't want money. She did it because it was right, not for payment." Something shifted in his expression. Surprise, maybe? Interest. "And you are?" Why did he want to know? I hesitated, instinct warring with the strange pull I felt toward this dangerous stranger. Claire Mitchell. "Elena Martinez," Elena added from behind me, her tone wary, protective. The man's gaze moved to Elena briefly before returning to me. "I'm Adriano." He offered his hand. I stared at it, stared at the expensive watch on his wrist, the manicured nails, the strength in those fingers, hands that had never struggled to pay rent, never traded medical care for dumplings. I shook it anyway because Lily was watching, because saying no would require explanation. His grip was warm, firm. It sent an unexpected jolt through my arm. "Thank you again, Lily." He smiled at my daughter, and the expression transformed his face from cold to almost gentle. "You're very brave." Lily giggled. I pulled her away. We left him standing there, my heart hammering for reasons I couldn't explain. Elena waited until we were outside before speaking. That was Adriano Varani. The name meant nothing to me. "So?" "My brother-in-law works at the courthouse. He says people don't talk about that name, not openly." She lowered her voice. "He's connected, Claire." "Like, connected?" "Connected. Mafia." She meant Mafia. I looked back through the store window. Adriana was gone, but the memory of those gray-blue eyes stayed with me, analyzing, dissecting, seeing too much. "Come on," I said, shepherding Lily toward home. "Let's get dinner started." That night, after Lily fell asleep clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit, I sat at my kitchen table staring at bills I couldn't pay, the eviction notice, the credit card statements, the medical debt that followed me like a shadow. Somewhere across the city, Adriano Varani probably sat in some mansion, thinking nothing of the desperate woman in her child who'd returned his wallet. I was wrong. Adriano watched the city lights from the back of his car, Victor driving in silence. His phone buzzed with messages he ignored. Business, territory disputes, the usual violence disguised as enterprise. None of it mattered. Find out everything about Claire Mitchell and the girl, Lily. Victor's eyes met his in the rearview mirror. "Sir?" "Everything. Where she works, where she lives, why she looks like she hasn't slept in days." He turned the wallet over in his hands, remembering small fingers offering it up, green eyes meeting his with exhausted pride. And the friend, Elena Martinez, background on her too, understood. Adriano leaned back, closing his eyes. He shouldn't care. Shouldn't give a damn about one struggling woman in a city full of them, but something about Claire Mitchell had lodged under his skin, the way she'd refused money, the fierce protection in her posture when she'd pulled her daughter close, those stunning green eyes that held more strength than most of his soldiers, and the child, Lily. She'd looked at him without fear, with pure innocence he'd forgotten existed. His wife had been 5 months pregnant when the car bomb killed her. Their son would have been 7 by now, the same age as Lily. He opened his eyes, staring at nothing. This was dangerous, foolish. He should forget them, move on, focus on business. But even as he thought it, he knew he wouldn't. Couldn't. How quickly can you get that information? By morning, Victor replied. Make it happen. Tomorrow he would know everything, and then he would decide what to do about the woman with green eyes who'd stirred something he thought died 7 years ago, something that felt dangerously close to hope. The file arrived on Adriano's desk at dawn. Victor had worked through the night, efficient as always. He opened it. Claire Elizabeth Mitchell, 28 years old, widowed, veterinarian at Patterson Animal Clinic, earning $32,000 annually. Husband David Mitchell died 3 years prior from complications of pancreatic cancer, 8 months of treatment, experimental therapies, multiple hospital stays, medical debt, $47,000. The number stared back at him, not from the clinic, from the hospital.
Memorial Medical Center and 3 collection agencies had purchased the debt, adding fees and interest until the original $28,000 ballooned into something insurmountable. Rent, 3 months overdue. Total owed, $4,200. Eviction notice filed. Court date, set for 6 days from now. He studied her photo, pulled from her veterinary license. Those green eyes looked directly into the camera. Professional, but tired, even then. Beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with makeup or styling. Raw, real. His chest tightened. "The friend?" he asked without looking up. Victor slid another file across the mahogany surface. Elena Martinez, 29, registered nurse at Memorial Medical Center. She was assigned to David Mitchell during his final week. That's how they met. Adriano's eyes lifted. She cared for the husband? Yes, they became close. Mitchell had no family except Claire and the daughter. Elena stayed with them through it. He paused. She lives 3 blocks from Claire. Helps with the kid regularly. Groceries, babysitting, small expenses Claire won't accept directly. Loyalty forged in grief, the strongest kind. Adriano turned pages. Solid work history? No debt, but modest savings. A DUI at 22. Probation completed. Nothing since. Background check clean on both, completely. Mitchell's never been arrested, not even a parking ticket. Martinez is the same after the DUI. They're clean, boss. Adriano closed the files. The city sprawled beyond his office windows, oblivious to the decisions being made in rooms like this. Decisions that changed lives without permission. Pay the medical debt, all of it. Make it look legitimate. Victor's expression remained neutral. How? Hospital donation. Anonymous benefactor. Establishing a fund to forgive terminal patient debts. Make sure Mitchell's name is on the list. 10 other names too, so it doesn't look targeted. That's nearly $500,000 for cover. Then it's $500,000 well spent. Adriano stood, buttoning his suit jacket. Do it today. And the rent? He hesitated. Too obvious. She'd know. Not yet. Let her come to me first. After Victor left, Adriana poured whiskey he didn't drink and stared at Claire's photo. She'd looked at him yesterday with exhausted pride, refusing money for her daughter's honesty. Most people in her position would have begged. She'd walked away. You're playing with fire. Sophia appeared in his doorway, arms crossed. His sister had a talent for materializing when least wanted. Good morning to you, too. Don't. She moved into the room, closing the door behind her. Victor told me about the debt payment. $500,000, Adriano, for a woman you met once? 11 people benefit from that fund. You don't give a damn about the other 10. Sophia's dark eyes narrowed. What is this really about? He turned away, looking out at the skyline. She has a daughter. So? The girl is 7. Understanding dawned on Sophia's face, her voice softened. Adriano, don't. He cut her off. I know what you're thinking. I know what this looks like. But when that child smiled at me, when she ran up with my wallet, like returning it was the most important thing in the world. He stopped, swallowed. Our son would have been 7. Sophia moved beside him, touching his arm. I know, but you can't replace him with, I'm not trying to replace anyone. The words came out harder than intended. I'm trying to help someone who needs it. Or you're trying to fill a void. Maybe both. He didn't say it out loud. Sophia sighed. The Russians are watching you. Volkov's been asking questions about territory. You bring civilians into this world. You paint targets on them. Then I protect them. Can you always? She paused. Be careful, brother. This path you're walking, it doesn't end well for people like us, or for people we care about. She left him alone with his thoughts and his untouched whiskey. Claire's phone rang at 9:47 the next morning. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Ms. Mitchell, this is Jennifer from First National Bank. Her stomach dropped. Another collections call. I'm working on a payment plan. No, Miss Mitchell, I'm calling with good news. The woman's tone was bright. Your outstanding debt with Memorial Medical Center and associated collection agencies has been paid in full. The scalpel she'd been holding clattered to the metal tray. What? $47,312. Paid in full yesterday by an anonymous benefactor. You're one of 11 recipients of the Memorial Hope Fund, established to forgive terminal patient medical debts. Claire's heart pounded. That's not possible. I have the confirmation right here. The hospital will send official documentation, but I wanted to inform you immediately. Your credit report will reflect the payment within 30 days. After the call ended, Claire stood frozen in the surgery room at the clinic. $47,000 gone. Just like that. Colleagues asked me later how it was even possible. The hospital only repeated the same line, that I had been chosen as a recipient of the Memorial Hope Fund. I knew better. The timing was too perfect. But nobody dared question a miracle when it showed up. It was him. It had to be. She called Elena. I need to see you. Now. They met at Elena's apartment during Claire's lunch break. Her friend took one look at her face and poured coffee without asking what happened. The debt. All of it. Someone paid it off. Elena sat down her mug carefully. The guy from yesterday. Adriano. It's too convenient. One day after meeting him, suddenly I'm debt-free. Claire paced the small kitchen. He investigated me. Elena had to. How else would he know? Maybe you're overthinking. Am I? She spun to face her friend. You said yourself, his name means something. People don't talk about him. What kind of man has that reputation and randomly pays off a stranger's debt? Elena was quiet for a moment. One who saw something he wanted to protect. The words hit harder than they should have. Claire sank into a chair. I can't accept charity from some criminal. Can you afford not to? Elena's voice was gentle but firm. Claire, you were drowning. Now you're not. Does it matter how you got the life preserver? Yes, it matters. But even as she said it, she thought of Lily in those worn sneakers, of the eviction notice, of every night lying awake calculating impossible math. That evening, Adriano waited outside Patterson Animal Clinic. He leaned against his car, impossibly elegant in the fading sunlight. When Claire emerged, exhaustion pulling at her features, he straightened. We need to talk. Her eyes flashed, fury, and something else. Something that made his pulse quicken. You had no right. Her voice shook. No right to invade my privacy, to investigate me like I'm some case file? I know. No right to pay my debts without asking? I know. Stop saying that. She jabbed a finger at his chest. You don't get to... I'm not your charity project. You're right. He caught her hand before she could pull away. Her skin was rough from work, warm despite the evening chill. You're not charity. Your daughter deserves better than watching you struggle. You deserve better than carrying your dead husband's debts alone. She flinched. He'd hit a nerve. Don't talk about David. You don't know anything about him or what we... I know he was sick for 8 months. I know he died owing $28,000. That ballooned to 47. I know you've been drowning for 3 years, too proud to ask for help. His voice softened. I know your daughter drew a picture of a happy family yesterday that included a father figure, because she wants one. Tears glistened in those green eyes. How dare you? I dare because I see you, Claire. Really see you. Not just the struggle, but the strength. The woman who takes food as payment for saving animals, who works 20-hour shifts, who raises a beautiful, honest child alone. He stepped closer. I lost my family, my wife and unborn son 7 years ago. When Lily smiled at me yesterday, I felt something I thought was dead. Her anger wavered. So, you're what? My second chance? No, you're someone who needs help, and I'm someone who can provide it. Let me. I don't even know you. Then get to know me. He released her hand. All I'm asking is a conversation, a real one, about what I can offer and what that means. You're one of them, aren't you? Her voice dropped. The kind of man who operates in shadows. Who has enemies? Yes. At least he was honest. Then helping me puts me in danger. Refusing my help leaves you in a different kind of danger. He gestured toward the clinic. Debt collectors, eviction, poverty. Those are dangers too, Claire. Let me handle mine while protecting you from yours. She wanted to say no. He saw it in her face, fury and something else, something that made his pulse quicken. Before her phone rang, "It's my landlord." Her face paled as she answered. "Hello?" Adriano watched her expression crumble, watched her grip the phone tighter, knuckles white. "Tomorrow? But you first said 6 days." She listened. "I don't have $4,000 by tomorrow. Please, just give me—" Her voice broke. "My daughter has school. We can't just—" The landlord hung up. Claire stood frozen, phone still pressed to her ear. "Claire." She looked at him. Really looked, and he saw the moment she broke. "The offer stands," he said quietly. "Whatever you need." "Why?" The word was barely a whisper. "Why?"
Why do you care? Because when your daughter ran after me with my wallet, smiling like honesty was the most natural thing in the world, I remembered what it felt like to have something worth protecting. He pulled out his phone. "One call. Your rent is paid. Your debts are gone. You have breathing room. No strings. There are always strings. Not with this." He held her gaze. "Think about it. My number is already in your phone from the bank transaction. When you're ready to talk, call." He left her standing there in the parking lot, backlit by failing light, her whole world shifting beneath her feet. That night, Claire stared at her ceiling while Lily slept peacefully in the next room. Her phone glowed with a saved number. Adriano Fertani. One call. That's all it would take. One call and her daughter would have security. But at what cost? Her phone buzzed. A text from the number. "The offer stands for as long as you need it." She stared at the words until they blurred. Then, handshaking, she typed a response. "We need to talk tomorrow." His reply came instantly. "I'll be waiting." The car arrived exactly when he said it would. Black, sleek, too expensive for my neighborhood. Elena stood in my doorway with Lily, watching me hesitate on the sidewalk. "You don't have to go," Elena said, but her eyes told a different story. We both knew I did. "I'll be back in a few hours," I kissed Lily's forehead. "Be good for Tia." "Elena, are you going to see the wallet man?" Lily's innocent question hit harder than it should have. "Yes, baby. We're just going to talk." The driver opened the door without a word. I slid into leather seats that probably cost more than my monthly rent. The door closed with a sound that felt final, permanent. We drove north, away from the cramped streets and broken streetlights of my neighborhood, toward suburbs I'd only seen in magazines. Trees lined the roads here. Actual trees, not the struggling saplings the city planted and forgot. Houses became estates. Gates appeared, guarding privacy I couldn't fathom. The car turned onto a private drive. Wrought iron gates swung open, recognizing us somehow. My stomach tightened. The mansion appeared through manicured hedges like something from another world. Modern architecture, all glass and stone, perched on a hillside overlooking the city. Lights glowed warm from inside, but the building itself felt cold, powerful, untouchable, like him. The car stopped. The driver opened my door. I stepped out on shaking legs, pulling my cardigan tighter, even though the evening was warm. "This way, Miss Mitchell." A woman in elegant business attire waited at the entrance. Mid-50s, sharp eyes that assessed me in seconds. "I'm Rosa. Mr. Vertani is expecting you." I followed her through rooms that belonged in museums, Original artwork on walls, floors so polished I could see my reflection. Everything whispered money in a language I'd never learned to speak. She led me to what looked like a study. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Adriano stood with his back to me, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Italian. Even from behind, he commanded space. He ended the call, turned. Those gray-blue eyes found mine immediately. "Claire, thank you for coming." I didn't have much choice. Something flickered across his expression. Not offense. Interest. There's always a choice. You could have refused. With my landlord demanding payment tomorrow, that's not much of a choice. He gestured toward leather chairs near an unlit fireplace. "Please sit." I remained standing. I'd rather stand. "This won't take long. Then I'll get straight to it." He moved closer, hands in pockets, casual in a way that felt practiced. "I want to offer you and Lily a place here. A wing of the house, completely private. You continue working at the clinic. I provide everything you need. Stability, security, safety. In exchange for what? Your permission to be part of Lily's life." His voice softened. "Not as a replacement for her father, just as someone present. Someone who cares. You don't even know her." "I'd like to." He paused. "I lost my family 7 years ago. My wife, our unborn son. I thought I'd buried that part of myself with them. Then your daughter smiled at me and I felt something I'd forgotten existed." The raw honesty in his voice caught me off guard. "So, we're what, your therapy?" "No, you're people who need help. I'm someone who can provide it." He stepped closer. "I won't lie to you, Claire. My business isn't legal. I have enemies, people who would use anyone close to me as leverage. But if you're under my protection, if you live here where security is absolute, you're safer than you've ever been. Safer from everyone, except you." He didn't deny it. "I won't hurt you, either of you. That's not who I am." "And who are you exactly?" I crossed my arms. "Some businessman with vague connections? Elena's brother-in-law says people don't talk about your name. That sounds like more than business, Adriano." "You researched me?" "Of course I did. You think I'd bring my daughter into stranger's life without asking questions?" Respect flickered in his eyes. "What did you find?" "Not much. That's the problem. Either you're very good at hiding or people are very good at staying quiet." I held his gaze. "Which is it?" "Both." He moved to a bar cart, poured amber liquid into a crystal glass. "I run operations that exist in gray areas. Import, export, territory management. Sometimes those operations require persuasion. Sometimes they require force. I won't pretend to be something I'm not. You're in the Mafia." That word carries assumptions that aren't always accurate. He sipped his drink. "But essentially, yes. The confirmation should have sent me running. Instead, I stayed rooted to the spot. And you want my 7-year-old daughter near that world. I want her protected from it. There's a difference." His jaw tightened. "If you stay in your apartment, struggling, visible, you're vulnerable. Any enemy looking for leverage could see you, use you. Here, you're untouchable. My family off limits." "We're not your family. You could be." The words hung between us, heavy with implication I wasn't ready to unpack. "Why do you even care?" I asked finally. "There are thousands of struggling single mothers in this city. Why us?" "Because your daughter has your eyes and your courage and your impossibly stubborn pride." He set down his glass. "Because when you refused money for returning my wallet, you reminded me that goodness still exists. Because Lily would have been the same age as my son." His voice cracked on the last word.
Just slightly, just enough. "I'm not trying to replace them," he continued. "I'm trying to do something good in a world where I usually do the opposite. Let me." I thought of Lily's drawing, the family with the father figure she'd never had. Thought of the eviction notice, the empty fridge, the endless calculations that never quite added up. 1 month, I heard myself say. Trial period. If it doesn't work, we leave. No arguments, no guilt. Deal. And I need to know we're safe, really safe, not just from your enemies, but from you." He moved close enough that I could smell cedar and something darker. "You have my word. Both of you are sacred to me, untouchable. Protected always? Words are cheap. Then let me prove it with actions. He extended his hand. 1 month. My protection, my resources, my home. In exchange for the chance to be part of something I thought I'd lost forever. I stared at his hand. At the scars on his knuckles, at the strength in those fingers. This man was dangerous. Criminal. Everything my rational mind screamed to avoid. But he was also offering salvation. I shook his hand. His grip was warm, firm, electric. 1 month, I repeated. 1 month, he agreed. But something in his eyes said he knew, like I knew, that we were both lying. This was already more than temporary. This was irreversible. Later that night, back in my apartment, Elena sat across from me nursing coffee while Lily slept. You're really doing this. I don't have another option. There's always another option, but Elena's voice lacked conviction. My brother-in-law says the Versani name is connected to the old families, the ones that run things behind the scenes. I know what he is. Do you? Elena leaned forward. Claire, these aren't the kind of people you walk away from easily. I have Lily to think about. That's exactly why you should think twice. I've thought twice. I've thought 1,000 times. I wrapped my hands around my own mug. He lost his wife and son, Elena. He understands loss. Or he's using your sympathy against you. Maybe. Probably. But when Adriano had spoken about his family, I'd seen genuine pain, the kind that couldn't be faked. 1 month, I said. If it's wrong, we leave. Elena studied me for a long moment. You like him. I don't even know him. But you're attracted to him. I didn't answer. Didn't need to. Elena knew me too well. Just be careful, she said finally. Men like that, they don't do anything halfway. If he decides he wants you, really wants you, he won't stop until he has you. Her words echoed in my head long after she left. I checked on Lily, watching her sleep peacefully, clutching her rabbit. Tomorrow I'd tell her we were moving. She'd probably be excited. New room, new place, adventure. She wouldn't understand the danger, the complexity, the way her mother had just made a deal with the devil himself. My phone buzzed. A text from Adriano's number. The car will come Saturday morning at 10 to help you move. Bring everything. This is your home now. I stared at the words. 2 days. In 2 days, my entire life would change. I typed back. We'll be ready. His response came instantly. Good. Sleep well, Claire. You're safe now. But as I lay in bed staring at my ceiling for the last time in this apartment, I wondered if safety was worth the price. If protection from one kind of danger meant exposure to another. And most terrifying of all, I wondered if part of me wanted this, wanted him. Wanted to step into his dark world and see what happened when I stopped running from shadows and walked straight into them instead. Moving day arrived with 3 black SUVs and 6 men in suits who handled our meager belongings like they were transporting treasure. Lily bounced on her toes, clutching Mr. Flopsy, her rabbit, while Elena stood beside me, watching the choreographed efficiency. Last chance to change your mind? Elena murmured. I squeezed her hand. I know, but I didn't change my mind. Couldn't. The eviction notice was real. The empty cupboards were real. This chance, dangerous as it was, felt like the only real option I had left. The drive to the mansion felt shorter this time. Familiarity, maybe, or resignation. Lily pressed her face against the window, eyes wide as we passed through those iron gates. Mommy, is this a castle? Something like that, baby. Adriano waited at the entrance, casual in dark jeans and a charcoal sweater that probably cost more than my car. His eyes found mine immediately, searching, making sure I hadn't fled. Welcome home, he said simply. Home. The word felt foreign on his lips. He crouched to Lily's level. Hello, Lily. I'm glad you're here. She hid behind my legs, suddenly shy. This powerful man, this stranger, was different in his territory, bigger, more imposing. It's okay, I whispered.
Remember, he's the wallet man. The nice man, Adriano added gently. Would you like to see your room? That got her attention. My own room. All yours, with anything you want in it. She looked at me for permission.
I nodded, and she tentatively took his offered hand. Her small fingers disappeared in his, and something shifted in his expression, softened, like he'd forgotten what it felt like to hold a child's trust. We walked through halls that still intimidated me, past rooms I couldn't name, until Adriano opened a door and Lily gasped. The room was every little girl's dream. Pale lavender walls, a canopy bed with gauzy curtains, shelves already filled with books and toys, a window seat overlooked gardens I hadn't seen on my first visit. Sunlight streamed through like liquid gold. "This is mine." Lily's voice was barely a whisper. "All yours," Adriano confirmed. "If you want to change anything, just tell me." She released his hand and ran to the bed, bouncing once, twice, then diving into pillows that swallowed her whole. Her laughter echoed off the high ceilings. I felt tears prick my eyes. When was the last time I'd heard her laugh like that? Unburdened. Free. "Thank you," I said quietly to Adriano. "You didn't have to do all this." "Yes, I did." His eyes never left Lily. Every child deserves this. Joy, safety, space to just be a child. The rawness in his voice reminded me he'd lost his chance at this. His son would never bounce on a bed or laugh in sunlight. Later, after Lily had explored every corner of her new domain, and Rosa had served lunch that Lily barely touched because she was too excited, Adriano showed me to my room, adjacent to Lily's, connected by a door, but entirely separate. Your space. Private. Locked if you want. I'll never enter without permission. The room was beautiful. Understated elegance, all cream and soft blue, a king-sized bed that looked like sleeping on clouds, an ensuite bathroom with a soaking tub I'd probably never use because I'd feel too guilty about the water bill, before remembering I didn't have a water bill anymore. "It's too much," I said. "It's what you deserve." "You don't know me well enough to know what I deserve." "Then let me learn." He leaned against the doorframe, hands in pockets. "That's all I'm asking, Claire. Time to know you, to be part of Lily's life, to prove this isn't a mistake." Before I could respond, Lily's voice carried from her room. "Mommy, Mr. Rosa says I can pick any color for the art supplies." "It's just Rosa, baby," I called back, "not Mr. Rosa." Adriano smiled. "She's adjusting faster than you." "She's 7. Everything is an adventure." I paused. "I work tomorrow. My shift starts at 7. Victor will drive you and bring you home. I can take the bus." "No." "Not harsh. Final. You're under my protection now. That includes safe transport." I wanted to argue, but the memory of the eviction notice, of counting pennies for bus fare, stopped me. "Fine, but I pay for gas." "Claire, that's non-negotiable." "I'm not a kept woman. I contribute where I can." Respect flickered in his eyes. "Understood." Elena visited that evening, arriving with cookies she'd baked, and suspicion she didn't bother hiding. Adriano was cordial, offered her wine she refused, then left us alone in the cavernous living room. "He's watching you like you might disappear," Eleanor observed once he'd gone. "He lost his family. He's probably terrified of losing people. Or he's possessive as hell and you're rationalizing." "Maybe both." Every instinct screamed at me not to trust a man like him, not to bring Lily into his world. But each time I looked at her worn sneakers, or the drawings she made of families she wished she had, I knew I was out of options. Perhaps I didn't trust Adriano, but I trusted even less the eviction notice taped to my door. The first week passed in surreal adjustment. Lily thrived. She drew pictures that now went on an actual refrigerator with actual food inside. She played in gardens that sprawled like parks. She called Adriano Mr. Adriano with careful politeness, keeping distance, even as she grew comfortable. He never pushed, never demanded affection, just existed in her orbit, present, but not intrusive. The second week, something shifted. Adriano was working at the dining table. Laptop open, phone constantly buzzing. Lily sat nearby with crayons and paper. "What are you drawing?" he asked during a break. She held up a picture. Stick figures. A man, a woman, a child. My family. He stared at it too long. "It's beautiful." "This is you." She pointed to the tall figure. "You have sad eyes, sometimes." "Do I?" "Uh-huh. Like you're thinking about something that makes you not happy." She tilted her head. "Mommy says everyone has sad sometimes. That's okay." I watched from the doorway, invisible. Watched this dangerous man's throat work. Watched him blink rapidly. "Your mommy is very wise," he managed. "Do you want to draw with me?" "I'm not very good at drawing." "That's okay. I can teach you." She said it so simply, so generously, like offering to share her most precious skill was natural. Adriano's hand trembled slightly as he picked up a crayon.
By week 3, Lily showed him her drawings without being asked. He kept every single one, pinning them to a board in his office that had previously held strategic maps and business plans. One evening, tucking Lily into bed, she asked the question I'd been dreading. "Is Mr. Adriano going to be my new daddy?" My breath caught. "Why do you ask that, sweetheart?" "Because he's nice, and he lives with us, and he looks at you the way Daddy used to look at you in the pictures." 7 years old and already seeing too much. "Mr. Adriano is our friend," I said carefully. "He's helping us, but your daddy was your daddy. No one can replace him." "Can I have 2 daddies? One in heaven and one here?" The innocence of it shattered me. "We'll see, baby. Let's just take it slow." "Okay. She yawned. "But I like him, Mummy. He's not scary like I thought he'd be." After she fell asleep, I found Adriano in his study. He looked up when I entered, concern immediate. "She asked if you're going to be her new father," I said without preamble. He set down his pen slowly. "What did you tell her?" "That we're taking things slow, that her father can't be replaced." I moved further into the room. "She likes you a lot. That scares me." "Why?" "Because you're dangerous. Because your world is violent. Because if she gets attached and something happens—" I stopped, swallowed. "I can't let her lose another father figure." Adriano stood, moving around the desk. "I won't let anything happen to either of you." "You can't promise that." "Watch me." He stopped, close enough that I could see the flecks of darker blue in his eyes. "I've built an empire on keeping promises, Claire. When I say you're protected, I mean it with every resource I have, even from yourself." "Especially from myself," his voice dropped. "You think I don't know what I am, what I represent. I won't corrupt her innocence. I won't expose her to my work. She'll have the childhood she deserves, insulated from everything dark in my life." "And me?" The question escaped before I could stop it. "Am I insulated too?" Something heated in his gaze. "Do you want to be?" The air between us crackled. Dangerous territory. I stepped back. "I should go. Early shift tomorrow." "Claire." He caught my wrist. Gentle. Always gentle, despite the violence I knew those hands were capable of. "I meant what I said. You're safe here. Both of you. Sacred to me."
I pulled away, not trusting my voice, not trusting the way my pulse jumped at his touch. That night, unable to sleep, I heard raised voices from downstairs. Adriano and another man. Victor, probably. I crept to the landing, staying in shadows. The Russians photographed her leaving the clinic. Victor's voice carried. And Jelena, they're building a profile. Then we adjust security. Adriano's tone was steel. Double the detail on Claire. Put surveillance on Elena's building. I want to know if anyone even looks at them wrong. Boss, this is escalating. Volkov is going to see them as leverage. Then Volkov dies before he can use them. The casual way he said it froze my blood. We need to be smart about this, Victor continued. The Russians won't back down if you... I don't care what they do. Claire and Lily are off limits. Make that crystal clear through whatever channels you need to. I retreated to my room before I could hear more, climbed into bed that suddenly felt less safe and more like a beautiful trap I'd walked into. His world with eyes open, but hearing the reality, the casual discussion of surveillance and death, made it real in a way nothing else had. Sleep came in fragments, filled with dreams of gray-blue eyes and promises that tasted like lies and truth in equal measure. 1 month. That's how long it had been since Lily and I moved into Adriano's fortress. 1 month of watching my daughter bloom in gardens I could never have given her. 1 month of catching his gaze across dinner tables, feeling something dangerous coil in my chest. 1 month, and he was asking for forever. I want to adopt Lily legally. His words hung in the study's expensive air. Give her my name, my protection under law. The document sat between us on his desk, official, binding, terrifying. You've lost your mind. I stood so fast my chair scraped against polished floors. I have a mother. Me. I'm her mother. And you'll continue being her mother. His voice was maddeningly calm. But she'll also have a father. Legal protection no one can challenge. The Versani name carries weight, Claire. Power. Safety. You can't just buy a family. I'm not buying anything. He moved around the desk, and I hated how my body responded to his proximity. I'm offering something real. The Russians are circling, asking questions about you and Lily. As my daughter, legally she's untouchable, off limits, protected by every resource I command. The Russians? My voice cracked. What Russians? The Sunsevkaya Bratva. Their competition. They know you're here. They photographed you leaving the clinic, photographed Elena visiting. His jaw tightened. As long as you're connected to me, but not family, you're vulnerable. They could use Lily as leverage. The room tilted. You're saying my daughter is in danger because of you. I'm saying she's safer with my name than without it. He reached for me, but I stepped back. This isn't a whim, Claire. I've thought through every angle. Lily deserves the protection my family can provide. You both do. 1 month ago, we were strangers. Were we? His eyes held mine. Or were we always heading toward this moment? From the second Lily ran after me with my wallet, from the first time you looked at me with those green eyes. Stop. I pressed my hands to my temples. I need to think. I need to talk to Elena. Take all the time you need. But something in his expression said time was a luxury we didn't have. Elena's apartment felt smaller than I remembered.
Or maybe I'd just gotten used to cathedral ceilings and endless space. She poured coffee with shaking hands when I told her about the adoption papers. He wants to what? Legally adopt Lily. Give her his last name. Jesus Christ, Claire. Elena sank into her threadbare couch. That's permanent. That's not something you undo. I know. I wrapped my hands around the mug, seeking warmth I couldn't find. But he says she's in danger, that Russians are watching us. Russians? Elena's face paled. My brother-in-law mentioned something about Russian families moving into Vertani territory, said it was getting ugly. He photographed you too, said you're being watched because you visit us. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Claire, be honest with me. How do you feel about him? The question I'd been avoiding. He's dangerous, criminal, everything I should run from. That's not what I asked. I closed my eyes. When Lily calls him Mr. Adriano, I see something break and heal in him simultaneously. When he looks at me across the dinner table, I forget how to breathe. When he touches my hand, even accidentally, I feel it everywhere. You're in love with him. I can't be. It's been a month. Time doesn't matter. Elena reached across to squeeze my hand. My question is, does Lily deserve this protection? Does she deserve a father who clearly adores her? Because that's what this is really about, isn't it? Not you and your fears. Your daughter and her future. She was right. I hated that she was right. Back at the mansion, I found Lily in her room, surrounded by crayons and paper. She looked up when I entered, smiled bright as sunrise. "Mummy, look what I drew!" The picture showed 3 figures holding hands. A tall man, a woman, a small girl with pigtails. Above their heads, she'd written in careful block letters, "My family." "It's beautiful, baby. That's you, and that's me, and that's Mr. Adriano." She pointed to each figure. "We're all happy. See the smiles?" I knelt beside her, throat tight. "Lily, baby, can I ask you something?" "Uh-huh. How do you feel about Mr. Adriano?" She tilted her head, considering. "He's nice. He listens when I talk. He doesn't get mad when I mess up my drawings. And he has sad eyes like you used to have before we came here." "Sad eyes?" "Yeah, like you're thinking about Daddy and feeling lonely. But you don't look like that anymore, Mummy, not since we've been here." Out of the mouths of children. That evening, I found Adriano in his study, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Italian that sounded like barely controlled fury. He saw me, ended the call immediately. "Claire, who was that?" "No one you need to worry about. If it involves my daughter's safety, I need to worry about everything." I closed the door behind me. "Tell me about the Russians. All of it." He studied me for a moment, then poured whiskey into 2 glasses, handed me one. "Alexei Vulov, head of the Sovkaya Bratva in this region. We've been in a territory dispute for 6 months. It's been contained until now." "What changed?" He took a long drink. "He sees you and Lily as my weakness, a pressure point. He sent a message today. Subtle, a threat wrapped in courtesy." "What kind of message?" "The kind that says he knows where Lily goes to school, what time Elena leaves for work, how many guards I have posted here." His knuckles whitened around the glass. He's testing boundaries, seeing how far he can push before I retaliate. Fear spiked through me. "What are you going to do?" "Whatever I have to." The cold certainty in his voice was absolute. "But it would be easier, cleaner, if you and Lily were legally mine, family. Because in my world, family is sacred. Attacking family starts wars that don't end until everyone's dead." "And you'd start a war for us?" "I'd end one for you." He set down his glass. "I lost my family once, Claire. I won't lose another, not while I have breath in my body and power in my name." The raw honesty shattered something in me. "The papers," I said quietly. "Where do I sign?" Relief and something deeper flooded his expression. "You're sure?" "No. But I'm sure Lily deserves every protection you can give her. I'm sure she looks at you like you hung the moon. I'm sure that drawing in her room includes you as part of our family." I moved closer. "I'm sure that despite every logical reason to run, I'm still here. And the other thing," his voice dropped, "the thing neither of us is saying?" "What thing?" "The way you look at me when I think I'm not watching. The way your breath catches when I'm close. The way we're both pretending this is just about Lily when we know it's more." My pulse hammered. "Adriano, I'm not asking you to love me, Claire, not yet. But I'm asking you to stop pretending you don't feel something. What I feel terrifies me." "Good.
He stepped close enough that I could see gold flecks in those gray-blue eyes. Because what I feel for you scares the hell out of me too. But I'm done fighting it, done pretending this is just about protecting a child, when the truth is I want you, all of you, and I want forever, not just 1 month. Before I could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, jaw tightening. I have to take this. Is it? Yes. He cupped my face briefly. Sign the papers. I'll handle Vulov. You're safe here, always. He left me standing in his study, heart racing, knowing that by signing those papers, I was binding myself to him in ways that had nothing to do with legality and everything to do with the dangerous thing growing between us. The adoption was finalized 2 weeks later. In reality, such a process should have taken months or years, but Adriano's influence, his lawyers, and the fear his name inspired in certain institutions moved mountains that would have remained immovable for anyone else. Lily Mitchell Virginine, my daughter, wore her new name like a crown, oblivious to the weight it carried. That night, tucking her in, she asked the question I'd been dreading. "Mummy, is Mr. Adriano my daddy now? Like for real?" I smoothed her wild curls. "What do you want him to be, baby?" "My daddy." No hesitation. "But I still love my heaven daddy too. Is that okay?" "That's perfect, sweetheart. You can love them both." "Good." She yawned because I asked him today if I could call him daddy, and he said I could call him whatever my heart wanted. "And what did you choose?" She smiled, already half asleep. "I called him daddy, and Mommy, he cried, happy tears like when you're really, really happy." After she slept, I found Adriano on the terrace, staring at city lights that glittered like fallen stars. "She told me what she called you today." He didn't turn. I wasn't prepared for how that would feel, hearing that word from her. I moved beside him. "Thank you for giving her something I couldn't." "You gave her everything. I'm just addition." "You're more than that." I touched his hand to both of us. He turned then, and the heat in his eyes stole my breath. "Claire, if you don't want this, if you're not ready, tell me now, because I'm barely holding on to—" "What?" "To the promise I made myself that I wouldn't touch you, wouldn't push until you were sure."
His voice was gravel. "But I'm losing that battle." "Then maybe," I whispered, "you should stop fighting." The kiss that followed was inevitable, desperate. Years of loneliness and fear combusting into something that burned away every doubt. His hands tangled in my hair, mine clutched his shoulders, and for the first time since David died, I felt whole. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to mine. "This changes everything." "I know." "No going back." "I don't want to go back." And I meant it. Despite the danger, despite the impossibility, despite every logical reason to run, I was exactly where I belonged. The courthouse smelled of old paper and bureaucracy. Claire smoothed her dress for the third time, anxiety coiling in her stomach. Beside her, Lily swung her legs from the wooden bench, clutching Mr. Flopsy and humming a tune only she understood. "Are you nervous, Mommy?" "A little, baby." "Don't be. Mr. Adriano says everything will be okay." She said it with absolute faith, the kind only children possessed. Adriano stood across the hallway, speaking with his lawyer, a man in an expensive suit who looked like he'd never lost a case in his life. Victor flanked them, perpetually vigilant. When Adriano glanced over, his eyes softened, seeing Lily's smile. The judge's chambers were less intimidating than Claire expected. Warm wood paneling, family photos on the desk, a woman in robes who looked at them over reading glasses with something approaching kindness. "This is an unusual case," Judge Harrison said, reviewing the paperwork. "Adoption of a child whose mother is present and capable. My client wishes to provide legal protection and family status to the child," Adriano's lawyer explained smoothly. "Miss Mitchell remains the primary guardian. Mr. Virginie is adding paternal rights and responsibilities." The judge studied them. Mr. Vergini, why do you want to adopt this child? Adriano's hand found Lily's small one. Because she deserves a father. Because her mother deserves support. Because from the moment I met them, I knew they were supposed to be part of my life. And you, Ms. Mitchell, you consent to this? Claire's throat tightened. Yes, Your Honor, for Lily's protection and future. The judge looked at Lily. And you, young lady, how do you feel about Mr. Vergiani becoming your legal father? Lily beamed. I love him. He's nice, and he listens to me, and he doesn't mind when I draw in his important papers. Despite the tension, laughter rippled through the room. Even the judge smiled. Well then, she signed the documents with practice efficiency. Lily Mitchell Vergiani, congratulations to your family. Outside the courthouse, Lily stared at her new birth certificate like it held magic. That's a long name. A strong name, Adriana corrected, kneeling to her level. It means you're protected. Always. Can I call you Daddy now? Like, for real? Real. Something cracked in his expression. Raw. Vulnerable. You can call me whatever feels right, Principessa. She threw her arms around his neck. Daddy! The word hit him like a bullet. Claire watched tears he couldn't hide slide down his face as he held Lily close. This dangerous man undone by a 7-year-old's trust. That evening. The mansion transformed. Rosa had prepared a feast for celebration. Sophia arrived with gifts, Elena with homemade cake. Even Victor smiled, standing guard, but present. To family, Sophia toasted, raising her glass, however we find it. To Lily, Elena added, the bravest little girl I know. To second chances, Adriano said quietly, eyes on Claire, and new beginnings. Lily clinked her juice glass against everyone's, delighted by the attention and normalcy of it all. For tonight, the danger felt distant. The threats felt manageable. After dinner, after Lily fell asleep, exhausted from excitement, Claire found Adriano in the library. He stood at the window, tension in every line of his body despite the evening's joy. She adores you, Claire said softly. The feeling is mutual, he turned. Thank you for trusting me with her. You've earned it. The space between them crackled with unspoken things. All evening they'd circled each other, glances holding too long, touches lingering. Claire. He moved closer. We need to talk about the explosion shattered the night. Windows erupted inward. Alarms screamed. Gunfire erupted like deadly fireworks. Adriano grabbed Claire, yanking her down as glass rained overhead. Stay low. He pulled her toward the hallway. Lily! They ran, footsteps pounding, shouts echoing. Adriano burst into Lily's room, where she stood frozen, clutching her rabbit, tears streaming. Daddy! I'm here, baby. Come here. He scooped her up, one arm around her, the other pulling Claire close.
We're going somewhere safe. Down corridors, past armed men taking positions, through a hidden door Claire had never noticed. A steel-reinforced room hummed with technology. The panic room. Adriano set Lily down, crouching to her level. You're going to stay here with Mommy. Don't come out until I come back for you. Understand? You're leaving? Terror widened her eyes. Just for a little while. He kissed her forehead. I promise I'll come back. I always keep my promises. Adriano. Claire grabbed his arm. Lock it behind me. His eyes were still open. For anyone but me or Victor. What's happening? Vukov. The name was a curse. Lock the door, Claire, now. He left. The steel door sealed with a hiss. Claire gathered Lily close, sinking onto the bench, her daughter's sobs muffled against her chest. Outside, chaos reigned. Gunshots, shouting, the crunch of breaking glass. Claire sang softly, the lullaby from Lily's infancy, trying to drown out the violence seeping through reinforced walls. Minutes crawled. Hours. Lily eventually cried herself into exhausted sleep. Claire stayed awake, every nerve screaming. Then, silence. Terrifying. Absolute silence. Footsteps approached, heavy, purposeful.
Claire, it's me, Adriano's voice. She fumbled with the lock, and the door opened. He stood there, suit ruined, blood spattered across his shirt and face. His knuckles were raw, his eyes were dark, but he was alive. Lily jerked awake, saw him, and launched herself forward before Claire could stop her. "Daddy, you came back!" He caught her, blood and all, holding her tight. "Told you I would." "You're bleeding." "Not mine, Principessa, not mine." His eyes found Claire's over Lily's head, haunted, relieved. "You're both safe. That's all that matters." An hour later, Elena burst through the front door, escorted by Victor. "Oh, thank God." She crushed Claire in a hug. "When I heard, 'Are you okay? Is Lily?'" "We're fine. Shaken, but fine." Elena's gaze swept the damage, the armed men cleaning up, the shattered windows. "This is what you've been dealing with." "It's handled now," Adriano said, appearing with fresh clothes. "The blood washed away. Volkov's men are dead or captured. This was their last attempt." "Jesus Christ!" Elena looked at Claire. "Are you sure this is safe?" "Safer than anywhere else," Adriano said, before Claire could answer. "I failed tonight. Let them get too close. That won't happen again." After Elena left and Lily was tucked back into bed, Claire found Adriano in his bathroom cleaning a cut on his ribs. She appeared in the doorway, and he stilled. "Let me." She moved closer, taking the antiseptic from his hands. "I'm a veterinarian, remember? I know wounds." He said nothing as she worked, hissing slightly when she pressed gauze to torn skin. This close, she could see the exhaustion in his face, the weight he carried. "You killed tonight." "Yes, for us." Without hesitation, he caught her wrist. "I'd do it again. I'd burn this city down before I let anyone touch you." The intensity stole her breath. "You're covered in blood." "Their blood, for your safety." His thumb traced her pulse. "Does that scare you?" "It should." She met his eyes. "But it doesn't. Maybe that makes me as broken as you." "You're not broken. You're the strongest person I know." The first aid forgotten, they stood inches apart, breathing the same air. The violence outside had stripped away pretense, no more dancing around what they both felt. "Claire," his voice was rough, "if you don't want this, tell me now." "I can't." She touched his face, fingers trembling. "I can't want this, but I do anyway." He kissed her like he'd been starving for it, desperate, consuming. She pressed closer, tasting violence and promise on his lips, his hands tangled in her hair, hers clutched his shoulders. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to hers. "No going back from this." "I don't want to go back." She meant it. Despite everything, despite the danger and the blood and the impossible reality, this was where she belonged. With him. In this beautiful, deadly world they'd built together. "Stay with me tonight," he whispered. And she did. 3 days after the attack, the house felt different. Safer, maybe. Or maybe I'd just grown numb to the constant threat hanging over us like storm clouds. Adriano and I were no longer pretending. His hand found mine at dinner. His kiss greeted me in the morning. Lily noticed, of course, her 7-year-old eyes missing nothing. "Are you and Daddy boyfriend and girlfriend now?" she asked over breakfast, syrup dripping from her fork. "Something like that," I said, catching Adriano's amused smile. "Good, you smile more now." She returned to her pancakes, satisfied with her assessment.
The war with Volkov hadn't ended. It had merely paused to reload. Men in suits patrolled the grounds with barely concealed weapons. Victor's face grew grimmer with each passing day, and Adriano spent hours locked in his study, orchestrating moves on a chessboard I couldn't see but felt in my bones. When one of his men stumbled into the kitchen, bleeding from a shoulder wound, the house doctor was 2 hours away dealing with another emergency. I didn't think, just moved. "Sit down now." I pushed the man into a chair, grabbing clean towels. "Rosa, I need hot water, antiseptic if you have it, and thread. Fishing line works if you don't have medical sutures." The man looked at Adriano for permission. Adriano nodded. I'd stitched up more dogs and cats than I could count. Human anatomy wasn't that different. My hands stayed steady as I cleaned the wound, assessed the damage, sutured the torn flesh with precise movements born from years of practice. "You'll live," I told him when I'd finished, "but you need antibiotics and rest." "Thank you, ma'am." Respect colored his voice. Sophia appeared in the doorway, having witnessed the whole thing. "She's more capable than we gave her credit for." "I told you," Adriano said quietly. "She's stronger than she looks." But strength couldn't prepare me for what came next. Elena's shift ended at midnight. She texted me, like always, when she got home, except that night, the text never came. My phone rang at 1 in the morning. Unknown number. My stomach dropped. "Claire Mitchell?" A voice I didn't recognize, accented, cold. "You're familiar with this number because you've researched me." Alexei Vulov. Everything inside me turned to ice. "What do you want?" "A trade. Your pretty friend for you. Come alone to the address I'm sending. 24 hours, or Elena dies." The call ended. A text arrived with a location, an abandoned warehouse in the industrial district. I found Adriano in his study despite the hour. His face went white when I told him. "Absolutely not. She's my best friend. She's Lily's godmother. I'm going like hell, you are." He stood pacing like a caged predator. "He'll kill you both. That's how this works." "Then what's your solution?" "Let her die. We find another way." He grabbed his phone. "Victor can—" "There's no time." I slammed my hand on his desk. 24 hours, Adriano. You think your men can mount a rescue in that time without her getting killed in the crossover?" Sophia entered without knocking. I was listening outside. "She's right. Volkov's expecting an assault. He won't expect her to actually come." "Stay out of this," Adriano growled. "No." I moved in front of him, forcing him to look at me. "I have an idea. It's risky, but it could work." He listened as I explained. Xylazine, a veterinary sedative used on large animals. In humans, it caused respiratory failure, looked like a heart attack. I could carry a loaded syringe disguised as an EpiPen, get close enough to inject Volkov or his guards. "You want to poison a Russian mafia boss?" Adriano stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "I want to save my friend by getting yourself killed, by being smart." I grabbed his hands. "I'm not going in blind. I go in with backup. You position ahead of time, I create an opening. Your men exploit it. We get Elena out. And if it goes wrong, then we tried." I squeezed his fingers. "Adriano, please. I can't lose her. She's family." Something shifted in his expression. Understanding. Because he knew about losing family, about the desperate measures we take to protect those we love. "This is insane," he muttered, but he was already planning. I could see it in his eyes. The warehouse smelled of rust and abandonment. I walked in with Adriano's voice in my hidden earpiece and his gun strapped to my ankle under jeans. The syringe pressed against my ribs in an interior pocket. Vulov stood center stage, surrounded by 8 men. Elena was bound to a chair, bruised but alive. Her eyes widened, seeing me. "Don't," she tried to say through the gag. "The veterinarian." Vulov's smile was cold. "Touching that you came. Foolish, but touching. Let her go. I'm here. That was the deal. Deals are flexible." He circled me like a shark. "You're more valuable than I thought. Versani's weakness, his soft spot. I'm nobody's weakness." "No." He stopped inches away. "Then why are you here, risking your life for a friend?" "Because unlike you, I value loyalty over power." His hand shot out, grabbing my face. That's when I moved. The syringe was out and buried in his neck before he could react. I pushed the plunger, full dose. Chaos erupted. Volkov stumbled back, hand to his neck. His men lunged. Gunfire exploded as Adriano's men burst through concealed positions. I dove for Elena, cutting her bonds with a knife I'd hidden in my boot. "Run!" I shoved her toward Victor, who appeared like a ghost. A guard grabbed my arm. I twisted, bringing my knee up hard. He released me with a grunt. Another guard aimed at me. The shot never came. Adriano was there, his weapon speaking with lethal precision. Volkov collapsed, gasping, the sedative doing its work. Respiratory distress. Cardiac arrhythmia. He'd be dead in minutes. Claire, Adriano pulled me down as bullets sprayed overhead. Are you hit? No, Elena, Victor has her. We need to move now. We ran through smoke and noise and violence. A bullet grazed my arm, hot and sharp. I stumbled. Adriano caught me, half carrying me to the waiting SUVs. Inside the vehicle, he examined my arm with shaking hands. You're bleeding. It's superficial. You were almost killed. His voice cracked. Do you understand? You almost died. But I didn't. And Elena is alive. Never again. He pressed his forehead to mine. You never risk yourself like that again. Then you understand how I feel every time you leave. I cupped his face. This is our life now. Partnership, risk, trust. Elena sobbed in the back seat, wrapped in Victor's jacket. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't. I reached back to squeeze her hand. Your family. I'd do it again. At the mansion, after the doctor treated Elena's injuries and my graze, after Lily was reassured everyone was fine, Adriano found me on the terrace where this journey began. Volkov's dead. His organization is in chaos. The war is over. For now, I said quietly, there will always be another war, won't there? Probably. He moved beside me. But I don't want to face them without you. Not anymore. What are you saying? He pulled a box from his pocket. Inside, a ring caught moonlight. Simple, elegant, perfect. Marry me. Really, marry me. Not for protection or legality or any reason except that I love you. I've loved you since you refused my money with your chin up and your pride intact. Since Lily smiled at me and made me remember what hope felt like. Since you walked into a warehouse to save your friend and reminded me what real strength looks like. Tears blurred my vision. You're sure? This life, it's dangerous. I've never been more sure of anything. He knelt. Claire Mitchell, will you marry me? Yes. The word came out choked. Yes. You infuriating, dangerous, wonderful man. Yes. He slipped the ring on my finger and kissed me like we had all the time in the world, like the danger had passed and only tomorrow mattered. Behind us, someone cleared their throat. Sophia stood in the doorway, smiling. Congratulations. Now get inside. Lily's been asking when you're getting married for the last 20 minutes. She wants to be a flower girl. We laughed. Actually laughed. Despite everything, despite the blood and the bullets and the impossibility of it all. Because this was family, broken and dangerous, but absolutely perfect.